Welcome back. It is another edition of Brave Central. Barrett Sully and Chris Domino with you, getting you ready for this weekend series against the Marlins, but also looking back at what was a lot of fun. Sweep over the Mets in the first meeting between the two NL East rivals of the season. Chris, I don't know. I don't know if that makes me immature or not, but even at 44, I just kind of chuckle every time the Braves do something horrible to the Mets because it's just fun.
Yeah, you're not the only one. I don't find June chuckling really a thing for me anymore. I'm more of an October belly laugh guy. Look, beating them, I will say this in that regard. You got to play again today, and then you're going to play them next week, and blah, blah, blah. Then you go to the All-Star break, and then all the things that will come at the trade deadline. So I can certainly spell out the dates or the the time frame that we're talking about here to get to what hopefully is going to be October. I will say this. It's finally the third week in June. It's taken a long time this year. And there have been other years where it hasn't been good. And there have been other years, quite honestly, where it wasn't good and it didn't get better over the course of the year. The rebuilding years, the lost years, whatever the hell they're called. It's so funny. I was thinking about this. I can't name the players. It's only 10 years ago when I was doing pregame every night. I was in the building probably for 50 games. I can't think of who the hell the players were in those couple of years. Like maybe it's just selective, dismiss it. I've put it in a box and stored it away. But it's the third week in June, and I finally feel better about this season. Now, again, I could still go with how many games under 500. I could still go with who's in front of you. I can still go with you're still an underachieving baseball team. But this is the first time this week, and it was playing the Mets, who are scuffling in their own right, but it's the first time that I felt like, okay, this baseball team has a pulse. It's not about talent. It's not about the back of the baseball card. It's not about what they will be, what they can be, what they should be. They played good enough baseball. And while some would still say it starts on the mound in baseball, the problem is starting pitching, if it's a 5 and 6 and maybe even a 7-inning deal, there's still a lot that they don't control, even if you have good ones. It was kind of nice to see over the last week plus that if you throw a good starting pitcher out there, he has more control of the game and in the game than we see around baseball itself because they're kicking into the 7th, 8th, and we actually saw the 9th inning a couple of times. So I think if you add all that up and the fact that it is the Mets and a first-place team and you are closer in the wild card race than you've been at any point this year, this was a pretty good week for Atlanta Braves baseball and for me as a fan.
Yeah, the pitching was, I think it sort of kept up the trend, even might have been better than we've seen in previous weeks. But the hitting, the timely hitting, the ability to, clear the bases to tie it up late, the ability to clear the bases to put a game away like we saw Matt Olson do yesterday. It's just something that's been missing. And I think now there's this confidence, and it really hasn't been in that clubhouse all year that, hey, you know what? Yeah, we still can do this. And it's almost like they've been pressing ever since the San Diego series last year. It just always felt like they were kind of fearing what might happen on the negative side rather than trying to make something happen on the positive side. And now that has changed. And moving forward, they can take a lot of that into Miami and really make a statement because it's been difficult for them to keep these stretches going. I'm not saying they got to sweep Miami, but it's you go through Milwaukee, you get 2 out of 3. You take 2 out of 3 from the Rockies. Yeah, the end of it was not like we expected, but you still take 2 out of 3. Now you keep things going. You get that bad taste of that blowout loss to the Rockies out of your mouth in a big way, an emphatic way. It does feel different. And you have guys starting to come out of it. You have Matt Olson not only getting on base, but driving in meaningful runs. You've got Ronald still doing Ronald things. You've got the number 2 hole in the order not really being a liability, which I think at some point, like when we started doing this, Drake Baldwin at number 2, Eli White at number 2, Alex Verdugo at number 2, it kind of felt like, oh God, they got to land the plane, but can they actually land it? Are the wings going to, tilt to one side or the other? That hasn't happened yet. So all of these things have given fans a lot of excitement about what the future holds.
Yeah, again, for me, I don't know if it's age. I don't know if it's mentality. I don't know if it's I don't really celebrate. I don't watch games, and I'm telling you that's a me problem if it's a problem. But I think I got tired of people, national, local, Stop telling me what you think the Braves should be. It's time for the Braves to show me who they are. There's a big difference in those two things. I was tired of the narrative being, but yeah, don't worry, but yeah, they're this. At a certain point, I always use the poker analogy. How many chips you got? What are you going to do with them? Shove on people, bully people. To me, the big thing in baseball is building on a lead. Building on a lead. I'm up 2, make it 5. Make the other guy not have. Again, comebacks happen. Your bullpen can implode. You might stop 2 runs short of what you needed. I get that. But there's just this moment in a season where if you're good, I always say 4-1. What do you do? Is it 4-2, 4-3, or is it going to be 7-1? Just shove people. And it just felt a little bit more. Look, they scored 5 runs the other night. They were 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. They had 2 home runs, and I'll tell you, it wasn't a very good offensive night. You won a game, you scored 5, you hit 2 home runs. It wasn't a very good offensive night. You didn't really create a lot of opportunities. You hit a couple of solo home runs, and then catcher's block, whatever the hell was going on. The Mets are dumb. Thank you. I'll take it. I don't have to be, when you win a, I used to say this, when you win a Jeopardy, I don't care how stupid the other 2 people are, the 3 people are if you're playing at home. It's the infamous, again, I don't have to be faster than the lion. I just got to be faster than you. I think with the Mets, it was nice to see us shove them around enough where you go, oh, you know what? It's nice to get a lead and make the lead a little bit bigger. Give your bullpen a little bit more breathing room. But I just think I was sort of cranky about the idea that national people, and it's crazy. So this is Friday morning. We got Tim Kirkshin coming on and Buster Olney coming on, our local show today with myself and Nick Cellini. And if you don't get a chance to hear it live or app it or whatever you see this, if it's too late, it'll be docked. It'll be on our webpage. Go to it. I'm kind of curious because those are the guys that have been telling me, don't worry, it's fine. Braves are this, Braves are that. It's a little bit closer to those guys. I don't want to play the who's right, who's wrong. But it's a little bit closer to at least now listening to that vibe about what people thought the Braves were and maybe say it's a little bit closer to what they've been telling me it was going to be.
Yeah, man, speaking of the Mets and the catcher's balk, only the Mets can have a catcher's balk. I mean, it's just everything that went right for the Braves seemed to go right. It's just funny how they always seem to fail when they play the Braves. 26 of the last 36 times the 2 have met, the Braves have won. The Braves are plus 81 in run differential over that time. So, we definitely own them, at least at this point in time. So moving forward, Didier Fuentes is coming in Friday to start against the Marlins. This is something we asked Snit about this yesterday before the game, before he could announce that Fuentes is going to be the starter. We also he was asked after the game, but it is due in large part, if not exclusively, to giving his starters a little bit more rest, because obviously we've seen how a starting staff can carry a team that's been struggling offensively. That our staff's been doing it for 2.5 months now. So give him a little break, throw in Fuentes. I'd say, look, I don't know a lot about the kid. I'm not going to pretend to be a minor league savant. And I know you don't really know a lot about that either. But look, when you look at the ERA, the record 0-7 and the ERA 4.81, 91, whatever it is, I don't really care. The guy turned 20 years old 3 days ago, and he's made his way through 3 different levels of minor league baseball this year. That tells me a lot about what they feel he can do.
Yeah, he's going to touch 4 levels of baseball, and I don't know how long he's going to be around. I was an advocate for a 6-man rotation before some of the stuff happened in Schwellenbach before he got hurt. A.J. Smith-Shawver got hurt. I don't know if this is that. Nobody's expecting him to be a hero. This isn't Dwight Gooden. Look, is he a circus freak? Yeah, if you're 20 years old, just turning 20 years old, and you're pitching in the majors after having your feet into every level of baseball, and it's not even the end of June, I'm interested. I don't know how long it's going to last. I don't know what it's going to be. He might wet himself. He might prove that he's 20, but he's not 20. He's older than 20 when he takes the mound. These players don't know him. Let me tell you where that guy was. That guy was nowhere near any of the fields that these guys up here. If there's somebody that I guess could maybe tell me something about him, like a guy, an actual player, I'll be a little bit surprised. Brian Snicker and Bobby Cox used to do this too. It's one of the things I respected. You'd ask him, hey, what can you tell me about him? I don't know. I'll introduce myself to him when I see him. That's kind of what this is. There's no expectation. He's going to get the baseball to start a game. It's the thing that we dove for the history books to find out when was the last time a guy this young actually made his debut. We've done all that stuff. Now the baseball game's going to start, and I'm kind of curious to see how he handles his water or doesn't, and what kind of live arm does he have? Does he need, a catcher to come out in front of home plate, or does he need a visit or two to settle him down? How many innings do you want him to go? I don't know any of that stuff, but they don't either. Like, that's sort of the beauty and the curse of baseball. The Atlanta Braves have no idea what they're getting out of this guy. As I said, the manager doesn't know him. If this guy came in and said, "Oh, this is me," or he used a fake name, Brian Snitker would not know. Now, I don't think they hand dossiers out like it's Mission Impossible. I don't think they care much would you recognize a guy. Eventually, they have a shirt on. It'll have his name on the back of it, and he's going to go pitch for the Atlanta Braves. How long he pitches for the Atlanta Braves is to be determined.
Yeah, he's a big strikeout guy, 48 strikeouts in 39 and a third innings. So he's done a good job at that. And he's a little guy. He's not big. He doesn't have a big stature. So he's one of those guys that just kind of sling it, where you look at him like, I don't know if that guy's got gas. And yet here he is with gas. So it'll be fun to see, man. It'll be fun to see. I don't think anybody expected this, but if you do, I didn't remember this. It had to be brought to my attention yesterday in the postgame show, but he was one of those guys that played in that minor league showcase thing that Major League Baseball tried to make a big deal out of in spring training. He was in the game that the Braves sort of had as that designated minor league showcase. So I don't know if that means anything. I don't really remember him all that much. I remember hearing the name, but that's about it.
Here's what's going to happen. If he gets slapped around a little bit and with a lack of size, like, he's not going to look the part. He's going to look like a guy who won a contest. I mean, seriously, he's going to look like a guy who got pulled out of a food court. And if he gets beat up, people are going to go, what was the excitement about this guy? How the hell is this guy making his way? But if he holds his own and does a little bit better, chalk one up for the little guy. That would be okay as a storyline too. He didn't wet himself. He handled his business. He went 3 innings. He gave the Braves a solid look. He's a starter in this game tonight, but do I think he's got a leash? I don't know. It sort of depends on what they think they want to stack up behind him for the rest of the weekend. But I have no idea what the plan is. I don't. We're not calling him an opener. We're not saying this is an emergency start. An emergency start is to have nobody else. No, this is a start to push guys back a little bit, to give guys a little bit more room. And it was interesting to watch Chris Sale go about it, obviously on Wednesday night, with a couple of extra days. You go, whoa. And that was always my thing this year. I got Strider coming back from an injury. I got Schwellenbach, who's never pitched at this level for as long as we hope he pitches here this year, as many innings, stress pitches. Hey, you got to go out and win us games, especially with the way the season's been going. Chris Sale, we saw him break down a little bit at the end of the year. I wouldn't mind giving him more days off. I always thought that this is a perfect moment for a 6-man rotation. The problem is A.J. Smith-Shawver goes down, and you go, okay, do you even have enough bodies to do that? The answer might be yes, but it's not going to be because this kid is the one. They're going to give him a start in Miami tonight. I'm curious to see how it happens. Look, the other part is he's going to be in a building unless they have fiesta night or unless it's 2-for-1 beer night. And I'm not kidding. That's the way that they draw people in there. They do weekend stuff that gets people in the building. On a regular Friday night, you're going to hear every Braves moment because it'll be applauded more loudly than any Marlins moment because there'll be more Braves fans in the building. That's the way it goes. It's a night. My point about that is the environment. The environment probably will not be one that's overwhelming. More stands, 3 levels, the up and down where you're going to talk to a major league catcher as you're walking back to the dugout, or you're going to be sitting next to a major league catcher and a major league pitching coach. Maybe that stuff's going to be different for him. But I don't think the atmosphere, other than the, oh, my God, I'm in the majors, if he can get himself as quickly as possible to 60 feet, 60 inches, I'm throwing. Nobody's going to be on his back. Nobody's coming down his throat. This is not that type of game. If you can control it as a 20-year-old, good for him. We'll be able to see it play out in front of us today.
And Brian Snitker deserves a ton of credit because pushing Sale back to Wednesday, giving Grant Holmes that start last Sunday against the Rockies, man, it could not have worked out any better. Could not have worked out any better. You got exactly what you wanted out of the Mets series. You go to Miami. Now you get Fuentes, Holmes, and Elder. And then you get the same big 3 next week up in New York. The real
interesting question will be who starts the game 4 against the Mets.
Yes. I don't know if that's the question.
This kid could have a bus ticket out tonight. I mean, he could be out in the 3rd inning. He might be on his way back to Gwinnett. I mean, in his mind. I don't think they're physically going to kick him out of the building. I'm not sure we have to do that. I'd maybe give him a night in a hotel in Miami, let him have himself a good time, whatever good time you could have at 20 in Miami. Maybe he's got a fake ID. I have no idea.
You can still do some damage at 20.
Well, let me tell you something. If I'm a major league pitcher and I'm 20 years old and I got a fake ID and your teammates say, hey, man, we can't go out. We got to play tomorrow afternoon. I'm going out by myself. You know what I'm telling everybody in that bar? I'm a major league pitcher.
I was going to make a Falcons.
What are they going to do? They're going to look up baseballreference.com. You know what? That's me. That is me. It says here you're 20. Oh, well, sorry about that. Maybe he gets kicked out of the bar. But at the end of the day, he's going to be on a baseballreference.com page tonight. As soon as he throws a pitch, he's bona fide at that point. He becomes 23,000 and whatever the hell the number is. Seriously, that's what he is. He's also going to be a part of history in that 23,000. I don't think we've hit 24,000 yet. 23,000 men of all ages, shapes, and sizes have actually played Major League Baseball. He's going to get to say he's one of them.
It's pretty cool. Going to be definitely interesting to see and fun to watch a storyline that I don't think any of us thought would happen this year. Don't forget to like, share, comment on the podcast. Get it around to your friends, your neighbors, everybody. Let them know that we are here twice a week, telling you, talking about the Braves 24/7. He's Chris Domino. I'm Barrett Lee. This has been Braves Central. We'll talk to you soon.